Hello everyone, my name is Ronak and you are watching Vector Art. So in today's video, we will take a look on how to use keyframe animations in Avalonia. So you can use a keyframe animation to change one or more control properties following a timeline. The keyframes are defined in Avalonia UI styles with a cue point along the duration of the animation. And set the intermediate values of the properties at a point in time. The property values between keyframes are set following the profile of an easing function. The default easing function is a straight line interpolation. There are other easing functions as well. So the animation is triggered to start and can run any number of times in either directions. There are also options to delay and start the animation and to repeat it. We'll take a look at each of these options in the upcoming sections. So note here is if you are familiar with keyframe animations, keyframe works in CSS, you will recognize the similarities and how they are done in Avalonia UI. So moving ahead with the example, you can define a keyframe using styles. So here I have an Avalonia project open, and I have this Avalonia templates installed. And if you are not aware of how to install Avalonia, you can check out my previous videos where I have described how to do it. And if you have not seen a designer like I do here, you can also check out my previous videos where I've explained how to install an extension that will enable you to preview your design. So moving ahead, let's start with our example. So this example is a simple color fade animation using XAML. So first I will copy and paste a template or the styles that I already worked upon. So let me take that style and just paste it here on my XAML. So first is to create a style collection at a chosen level. The second part is to add a style to the collection with a selector that can target the control you want to animate. So first is the style element, and then we have the style selector element, which will target a particular control and the class. So next we add a setter prop element to define the property that we want to animate and change. So next one would be the setter property, and the setter property is set to fill and the value is red. Next we add animation element. This style dot animation, which is the next part, is the container for the animation element. So we add the style dot animation element, which is a container, and inside this animation container we add the animation element and set the duration attribute, and this format of this duration attribute is hours, minutes, and then seconds. Now we define a keyframe inside the animation. The example uses two keyframes, one which has the cue of 0% and the next one is has the cue of 100%. And inside this keyframe we add the setter element to each keyframe for a value of the opacity to be changed or the fill to be changed. In this example we are animating between opacity value 0 to 1. So this is how the finished code will look like, and this is the animation, resulting animation that you see in the designer preview when the rectangle is loaded. So if I run this animation now, as soon as the rectangle control is loaded and can be selected by the style, in fact it runs in the preview pane as well. So you can see that now once it is loaded, the window is loaded and the rectangle itself is loaded, the animation will be triggered. And if you can in fact see it in the designer preview as well. Yeah, so So next we will take a look at the animate two properties at the same time. So in the example we will make some changes to incorporate this animation of two properties. So let's start by changing few of the properties here. So let's go to the animation tag, and here we will add an iteration of 4 so that the animation iterates 4 times continuously. Next we will add a setter element inside the keyframe, and this setter will change a different property, not the opacity, but we will try to rotate the rectangle. So we will change the property here to rotate transform dot angle, and let's copy the same and paste it in the keyframe of 100%, and here the value will be 90. So as soon as I do that, you will see in the preview that the animation is triggering, and the opacity changes as well as the rotation of the rectangle is triggered. So next we will take a look at the property called delay. So you can add a delay to the start of an animation by setting the delay attribute of the animation element. So you can always add delays to the animation. So here in our example we will go to the animation tag again, where all the properties are basically set for the animation. So next to the duration I will add the property called delay, and set the delay of 0 hours, 0 minutes, and let's say 10 seconds. So you will see that after 10 seconds on the preview pane the animation will trigger. So let's wait for 10 seconds to complete, and here you can see that the animation has triggered. Let me change this animation to 5 seconds because 10 seconds is too long. Next property that we are going to talk about is the repeat property. So you can make an animation repeat for a set number of times or indefinitely. To repeat for a finite number of iterations, we can set the iteration count like we did before. We have set the iteration count to 4, and our animation runs continuously for 4 times. To repeat an animation indefinitely, you can use the special value called infinite. So here in our example, let's change the iteration count to infinite. And as soon as I do this change, you will see that the animation will run in infinitely. Since there was a delay of 5, it did not start immediately, but now that I've changed the delay to 1 second, you can see that the iteration property in effect. So next we will take a look at another property in this animation is the playback direction. So by default an animation plays forward, that is it follows the profile of an easing function from left to right. You can alter this behavior by setting the playback direction attribute on the animation element. So here we have set the playback direction to alternate reverse, which will alternately reverse the direction of the playback. So you can see the following table that describes the other options that are available for the playback direction property. So here on the screen you can see the other options available. So the first one is the normal, the animation is played forward, that is the default value. Then we have reverse, where the animation is played in reverse, and alternate, where it plays forward first and then backwards, and in the alternate reverse it is just the reverse of the alternate. So next property that we are going to talk about is the fill mode. So the fill mode attribute of an animation defines how the properties being set will persist after it runs. or during any gaps between it runs. For example, in this example I will change the fill mode to backwards. And next we will there are other options as well. On the screen you can see the table where the different values are displayed. So we have the default value, that is none, where the value will not persist after animation, nor the first value will be applied when the animation is delayed. Then we have forward, then backward, and finally we have both property. And finally we have the last property for the animation element, and that is the easing function. So an easing function defines how property is varied over time during an animation. So the default easing function is a linear function, so that is the default one that we saw, but you can use other patterns by setting the name of the desired function in the easing attribute. For example, in this example we can use I'll remove these properties that we use to demonstrate other properties. I will remove that and start adding the easing attribute. And here in this example I am using the bounce ease in attribute, so easing function. So this will trigger the easing function, and you will see that the pattern is quite irregular and not linear. So there are other easing functions also available, which you can check out. The first one would be the default one, which is the linear. This is the second one, bounce ease in, and then there is one more called sine ease in function. Yeah, sine ease out function. So that is the last one that we have. And that is all I have for this tutorial on animations. Hope you all like watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and do subscribe to my channel. Till then, bye bye.